all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh. Bahasham Yahushua, Bahasham Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, and wherever you may be, and wherever you may be. To you I say Shalom and Shalom. Alright, we're picking up in 2nd Esdras, the 10th chapter, which is basically a continuation of the 9th chapter. As a matter of fact, we can actually hop back over there and just review the bottom portion of this chapter here. Yeah, let's just pick up at 38, because this leads into when the woman appears. So 2nd Esdras 9 and 38. And when I spake these things in my heart, your heart is your mind. The word is lop in the Hebrew. I looked back with mine eyes, and upon the right side I saw a woman, and behold, she mourned and wept with a loud voice, and was much grieved in heart, and her clothes were rent, and she had ashes upon her head. Then let I my thoughts go that I was in, and turned me unto her, and said unto her, Wherefore weepest thou? Why art thou so grieved in thy mind? And she said unto me, Sir, let me alone, that I may bewail myself, and add unto my sorrow, for I am sore vexed in my mind, and brought very low. And I said unto her, What aileth thee? Tell me. So I just seen this woman pop up, and she was weeping very, very heavily. And so he, sparked the conversation with her, and he asked her, why are you, grieving such? Okay. And she said unto me, I, thy servant, have been barren, and had no child, though I had an husband 30 years. And those 30 years I did nothing else day and night, in every hour, but make my prayer to the highest. After 30 years, the Most High heard me, thine handmaid, looked upon my misery, considered my trouble, and gave me a son. And I was very glad of him. Excuse me. And I was very glad of him. So was my husband also, and all my neighbors, and we gave great honor unto the Almighty. And I nourished him with great travail. So when he grew up, and came to the time that he should have a wife, I made a feast. Okay. So when you continue that chapter into chapter 10, all right, it just basically picks up on the conversation. And it came to pass that when my son was entered into his wedding chamber, he fell down and died. Then when all overthrew the lights, and all my neighbors rose up to comfort me, so I took my rest unto the 2nd day at night. And it came to pass, when they had all left off to comfort me, to the end I might be quiet, then rose I up by night and fled, and came hither into this field, as thou seest. So you notice is the woman is retelling, after Esdras asking why you're crying and so on and so forth. All right, she's going back and telling Esdras what happened, and why she ended up here. And I do now purpose not to return into the city, but here to stay, and neither to eat nor drink, but continually to mourn and to fast until I die. Then left I the meditations wherein I was, and spake to her in anger. Because remember, Esdras was told, I believe it was that last time, Esdras was told to fast another week and eat the herbs of the field. Okay, so he can prepare himself for the next visitation of the angel. Okay, and so Esdras was really, he was zoned in. Little did he know this was part of that zoned in. All right, this wasn't a woman that actually appeared to him. Okay, he was still in that zone. Things were still being revealed unto him through the Spirit, right? Because I think I wonder if I can find that real quick. I just use this book. I want to say there's one in that I can make a small point from. And Daniel 10. I haven't been in a long time, so you just have to bear with me. Just give me a couple ticks. Let's see here. Or maybe 9. Because there's probably another example I can get. Okay. Okay, so I don't think it's in this chapter. But there is an account, I'm not gonna jump over there, in these books of Daniel though, where uh it's probably man, trying to figure out what chapter. But anyway, it's just the I can at least make the point. Esdras was telling I think it was King Nebuchadnezzar, that it wasn't about, him being special about this, that, and the third thing. Okay, let me see if I can find it, because now since I mentioned it, that's Belshazzar in this chapter. Go back to 4. I was trying to make a point with what we were reading in Esdras, which is why I want to find it. You have to bear with me. I know I'm kind of taking up the clock here, but I really want to find this verse though. You can't think of the wording, so you can't really pull it up. But I'm not in a rush, so. If it's kind of taking too long, you can always fast forward, because at this point it'll be uploaded. I want to find something. Okay, that's the 3 holy children. So of course. Okay, it might be in chapter 2. Hopefully it is. Okay, yeah. Daniel 2, we'll start at 19. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel in a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the highest, the power of heaven. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the highest, forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removed the kings and setteth up kings. He giveth the wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. Okay, I thank thee and praise thee, O thou power of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might. You see, who has given me wisdom, which is what was set up above. For wisdom and might are his, right? And he gives wisdom and to the wise. Okay, so on and so forth. So, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now what we desired of thee, for thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter. Okay, I want to say there was another one, but basically that's the point I wanted to make. Then he was telling the king that it's not because I was special. This was just gifted unto me to understand and to reveal to whom it's supposed to be revealed to. Okay, and this is how this is happening right now with Esdras. Esdras was happened to be the one that was chosen to reveal all these great understandings and revelations, really, in the books of Esdras. Okay, so that's the point that I want to make. So let me keep going back in the second Esdras chapter 10, verse verse 5. Then I left the meditations wherein I was, and spake to her in anger, saying, Thou foolish woman above all other, seest thou not our mourning and what happened unto us all? Right? Because mind you, Esdras was what? Crying out to the Lord about the current situation of the nation of Israel. Excuse me. And the angel was sent unto Esdras to give him some comfort and give him, understanding. How that Sion, our mother, is full of all heaviness, and much humbled, mourning very sore. And now, seeing we all mourn and are sad, for we are all in heaviness, art thou grieved for one son? So basically, Ezra's saying, like, look, we're in captivity right now. Okay, we've moved out of our land and all these different things of that nature. Okay, and you're here crying over one son as if we're not all jacked up right now. For ask the earth, and she shall tell thee, that it is she which ought to mourn for the fall of so many that grow upon her. For out of her came all at the first, and out of her shall all others come. And behold, and that makes me think about probably a couple chapters ago, where Esdras was asking, he was saying, why can't you just bring everybody on the earth at one time? And the Lord through the angels was saying, like, I'm likening my judgment to a ring. Okay, so the latter is not I forget exactly how it's worded, but basically to say it just as plain as possible, everything is going to happen in its own allotted time. All right, so for out of her came all the first, and out of her shall all others come. And behold, they walk almost all into destruction, and a multitude of them is utterly rooted out. And notice it says they walk almost all into destruction, because there's always a remnant of the nation of Israel. Okay, those who actually believe. But the thing is, the Lord deals with nations as a whole. Now I say he doesn't judge individual people, but overall he will deal with a nation. So the nation of Israel went into captivity, were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth and different things of that nature. It wasn't just the wicked Israelites, because even all Israel is still seen as falling short. But at least you had your believers. But then you had, the wicked Israelites who just wanted to do what they want to do. So just to make a, small point real quick. A little example there. But getting back to the chapter, it says, who then should make more mourning than she, that had lost so great a multitude, and not thou, which art sorry but for one? Yeah, and see, so Esdras is saying, the same thing we just spoke about above. All right, we're in captivity right now. Jerusalem's trodden down. It's talking about the slain of the earth and all these different things here. And Esdras is saying, but you're crying over one son. But if thou sayest unto me, my lamentation is not like the earth's, because I have lost the fruit of my womb, which I brought forth with pains and bear with sorrows. Okay, so she's going to, speaking about, the motherly pains that women have giving birth. All right, this is something that like a woman would say, I cared for 9 months, and so yeah, so she's explaining here, but the earth not so, for the multitude present in it, according to the course of the earth, is gone as it came. Then say I unto thee, like as thou hast brought forth with labor, even so the earth also hath given her fruit, namely man, ever since the beginning unto him that made her. All right, which is, what's meant to say here straightforward. Okay, now therefore keep thy sorrow to thyself, and bear with the good courage that which hath befallen thee. Okay, so Esdras is really, he's scolding this woman, because once again the argument is I'm crying over one son, and Esdras is saying, well, what about all of us? Okay, so Esdras he's scolding her about her foolishness. For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of the Most High to be just, thou shalt both receive thy son in time, and shalt be commended among women. See, he says, if you acknowledge the determination of the Most High to be just, because what? Because every decision that the Lord makes, is a righteous decision. Okay, it's just that on earth, people perceive something to be, oh, this was a good thing that happened, or that was a wicked thing. Okay, it's clean, cut, and dry with people of the earth. But that's why the Lord says in Isaiah 55 that my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. Okay, he's past Isaiah 40, I believe it's 40, somewhere around like 28. Okay, and some verses around that little area in that context. But yeah, there's no figuring out the Lord. Okay. So, what's that? Zephaniah 3 and 5. All right, the just Lord. You see, he will not do iniquity. For if thou shalt acknowledge the determination of the highest to be just, which it is, so he's telling her, if you can see things clearly, all right, thou shalt both receive thy son in time, and shall be commended among women, because you'll have the understanding of what's happening here. Okay, you won't be so grieved if you understood things from the viewpoint of the Heavenly Father, or not even exactly viewpoint, but trying to think of the word I'm looking for. But you get what I'm trying to say. if you saw things the Heavenly Father's way, you have a better understanding of what's happening here. And then he says, you will receive thy son in time, and shall be commended among women. So you will be seen as one who which is often said about the men, but to make the point, one who girded up her loins, right? Who just, you sucked it up, you understood, right? You got the bigger picture, okay? And then you knew that the Lord would give you your son back in due time. Go thy way then into the city to thine husband. And she said unto me, that will I not do. I will not go into the city, but here will I die. Now, as we keep going on, it's going to break down this whole entire conversation from the end of chapter 9 and everything we read up above. So I proceeded to speak further unto her and said, do not so, but be counseled. So he's saying, look, I said, go into the city to your husband. You said no. And so he's basically saying, no, don't stay here. Do as I counsel you to do, which is go into the city to your husband. So be counseled by me. For how many are the adversities of Sion? Be comforted in regard of the sorrow of Jerusalem. See, for thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed. Is that not what we spoke about up above? You see, because when you think back, they went, it started with the Babylonians, then eventually they met the Medes and the Persian, empire, moving on to the Greeks and so on and so forth. But of course, the Greeks were not that far down. I'm just making a point here, because I want to go back into to make the point of when the Babylonians came. All right, so they actually I think there was a siege. No, actually, but the first time they did take captives or whatever. I think they set up a puppet king. Well, not really a puppet king, but set up their own king of Israel. I think that was the first time. It's been around since I've been in the history, but I know the second time, I think it was like a 2-year siege, and that is the time where they took more captives, okay, and where the temple was destroyed and things, okay, all the things were destroyed, which the book of First Esdras mentions that how because that gives us an insight that the Edomites were there, okay. Psalms 137, who said, raise it, even to the foundations thereof. Okay, so in First Esdras, I believe it's the 4th chapter, it talks about how those Edomites were there. All right, so that burning of, all our things, in our land, by the Babylonians coming against us, okay, because they were already have taken power over us, but then also, in particular, those Edomites being there, okay. So that was way back to that, which is all history that's in the Old Testament. Especially starting around, well, actually, I can't even say I was going to say Daniel, but, it's because a very loved book. But, other prophets, you get history, okay? But it's also mentioned in the Apocrypha. So, for thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed, okay? Matter of fact, let me just type some. Actually, I need, let me just get a book here. Just a quick question here. What year was the second? Wait, what was to look for the first temple? As a matter of fact, I'll just ask about both, just to get the dates. I'm gonna just get the dates of both of them. Destroyed. There you go. The first temple, see? Solomon's temple, which is what we're going to talk about down here in a second, was destroyed by the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar II. Nebuchadnezzar II is the Nebuchadnezzar you read about in the book of Daniel, with most historians dating the event to 587 to 586. Okay, there was a 2-year siege, and eventually it all fell apart for us, because that was prophecy to happen. The destruction occurred in the Hebrew month, okay, following the siege of Jerusalem, and marked the end of the kingdom of Judah and the beginning of the Babylonian exile. There you go. Okay. And just for extra reference, because I said it anyways, let's go. If we can edit that, we can edit that one. Just because I want to get a date on that too. I'm gonna get also just to answer that question. Anyways, second temple destroyed, which is 70 AD. Which we all know about that, which was when what? The Romans came. All right, so back over here. Now we're not talking about the second temple though, because mind you, in history, we at this point in history we have not gotten far as the Romans, because remember we just mentioned we haven't even gotten far as the Greeks. Okay, so and the Romans came after the Greeks. So for thou seest that our sanctuary is laid waste, our altar broken down, our temple destroyed. This was way back in 586, 587, like we just read. Okay, because I think they eventually fell to the Medo-Persian Empire, the Babylonians that is, I was in 539. All right, our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at an end, the light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled. And when you think about it, in Lamentations, actually, was it Lamentations? I think there was either Lamentations or Psalms 137 at the top of it. I believe it was Psalms 137 where it says, "Sing us." Let me just pull it up real quick. Just a quick. Since I mentioned that, it was something that came to mind there. Speaking about the Babylonians and things of that nature when they came. Yep. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, "Sing us one of the songs of Zion," which is basically mockery and them jesting at us, right? Because if you just got taken in, let's say you just got taken onto a slave ship, and then the slave master tells you to sing a song or to sing and dance, which they would do actually, because tell them to get exercise. No, why don't you release us from this bondage? But of course we know it's prophecy to be fulfilled, but you get my point though. All right, I think they showed you that in a couple of movies too. 12 years a slave, all right, waking them up in the middle of the night when the slave master was angry, telling them to dance and sing and stuff, and they because you gotta think about, you've been out in the field all day plowing cotton and whatever else, and then he wakes you up, you drop dead tired and wake you up in the middle of the night, tell you to play some music and dance. Okay, so this is like the same thing here. How shall we sing Yahweh's song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. Okay, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. And that goes right down into the scriptures that we read, that we quoted earlier, from first Esdras 4, and then the Edomites being there. Remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. See, because Esau has always been there. It was either them or they were somewhere in the cut, boosting and cheering on. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Okay, and that's a great payback that these Edomites are going to get paid back for. So that was a small side note, but let's get back on point. Our psaltery is laid on the ground, our song is put to silence, our rejoicing is at hand. Is at an end. The light of our candlestick is put out, the ark of our covenant is spoiled, our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. Now, no one took the Ark of the Covenant, just in case you're thinking that. The last time you hear about the Ark of the Covenant, Jeremiah hid it, okay? And it was never found. There was men who tried to find it, kind of marking the way and trying to, following, search out Jeremiah's paths, but they couldn't find it, okay? The last time the Ark of the Covenant was seen by physical eyes was in the hands of Jeremiah, okay? Our holy things are defiled, and the name that is called upon us is almost profaned. Our children are put to shame, which is, us, Israel, Yasharallah. Our priests are burnt. Our Levites are going into captivity. Our virgins are defiled, and our wives ravished. Yep, because that's women are spoils of war. Our righteous men carried away. Our little ones destroyed. Beautiful. Because we talked about the book of Daniel earlier. It would be a natural thing to take, the wisest of men and, blacksmiths, the people that will really make value to the king's, kingdom, that could, he could get value from. And then those that didn't really matter. So they were either put to death or left behind or whatever. which is what they did to some of the Israelites. All right, some were left behind with destroyed houses. Stuff was on fire, fields all torn up, and but they were left there. Okay, because they didn't really have any value to the king. All right. So it says, our righteous men carried away, our little ones destroyed, our young men are brought in bondage, and our strong men are become weak, because these things are prophecy. All right, that's just how it goes. All right, if the Lord wants to bring a nation, whether it be us or any heathen nation, down, it could be the mightiest men on the planet. The Lord will make it where those men will lose. Think about when we're going to take the Holy Lands. All right, from the Canaanites. These were giants like them. All right, the Amorites are often mentioned. Okay, the Zamzamims, and very, very tall individuals, men that were mighty men, that any regular nation would have been terribly destroyed by them. But because the Lord was with us, all right, we took them down, like they were regular sized men. Okay, another example, Gideon. It was never about the all the men that he had. It was never even about the 300. It was about the Lord letting it be known that I did this, not by a big number of men, not even by you small 300 number of men, but by using you small 300 number. This lets you know that I, the Lord, decided the fate of this battle, which was in your favor and not against you. Continue on, verse 23. And which is the greatest of all? The seal of Sion hath now lost her honor, for she is delivered into the hands of them that hate us, our enemies. And therefore shake off thy great heaviness, and put away the multitude of sorrows, that the mighty may be merciful unto thee again, and the highest shall give thee rest and ease from thy labor. And that's really a very great sentiment that we have to have ourselves today. That everything that we're going through, not only do we deserve, but we actually have to suck it up and get through it, because this is the Lord actually dealing with you. Okay, and this is the Lord dealing with you. He says he chasteneth whom he loved. And if he doesn't chastise you, then you're a bastard and not a son. Okay? But mind you, this is what he's telling this woman. Like, look, you got to get over yourself. We're all in the same, predicament. So go back into the city to your husband. And she said no. So Esdras started scolding her some more. And it came to pass, while I was talking with her, excuse me, behold, her face upon a sudden shined exceedingly, and her countenance glistered, so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be. Let's get this word glistered, if we can. Bear with it. Okay, glister, to glitter, right? Glistered is the archaic past tense of glister, meaning to have shone, sparkled, or gleamed with a brilliant reflected light. It describes a bright, shimmering appearance, often used for dew or jewelry. Synonyms include gleamed, glittered, sparkled, shimmered, and flashed. Okay, so very nice. So yeah, there you go. So we'll just say she shined very brightly. Okay. Yep. So it says, yep, her countenance glistered, right, her face, so that I saw so that I was afraid of her, and mused what it might be. Because mind you, Esdras is really somewhat seeing a vision here, if you will. Okay, but this is in the form of an actual woman. So all of a sudden her face shined, and so you got to think about, if you were Esdras. Let me hit these windows real quick. All of a sudden someone's face, you're talking to someone, their face just starts to shine, you be nervous too. You're like, what the heck is going on here? Okay. Like that one not Tom Cruise, what's the other cat, Keanu Reeves movie, where that destroyer thing had a metal face that opened up. There's nothing but, I think that was like a fire or whatever. It was a bright light, but you get my point. Her face shine. And behold, suddenly she made a great cry, very fearful, sort of. Not only the face just out of nowhere just started shining, then she made this huge, cry, so that the earth shook at the noise of the woman. So the earth shook at the cry of this woman. So her face is shining bright. She let out this crazy scream, and the earth shook. So if you got to think about if you were Esdras, you'd be nervous too. And I looked, and behold, the woman appeared unto me no more. But there was a city builded, and a large place shewed itself from the foundations. Then was I afraid, and cried with a loud voice, and said, so the woman she disappeared. After all this happened, the woman disappeared, and then there was a city builded, and a large place shewed itself from the foundation. So he probably saw things, from the foundation up, right? Which when Revelation 21, it talks about, how the kingdom is going to be built with the foundation stones and things of that nature. But that's another topic. It says, then was I afraid, and cried with a loud voice, and said, where is Uriel the angel, who came unto me at the first? So because after this happened, he was super nervous. That startled him. So now he's like, where's Uriel? Uriel, you gotta pop up somewhere. Because after seeing this woman's face shine, that loud scream and the rumbling of the earth, and now all of a sudden this foundation here that he's seeing, okay, of this large city, okay, he needed answers. For he hath caused me to fall into many trances, you see, and mine end is turned into corruption, and my prayer to rebuke. This is what we said before. Esdras is still in this, he's in that zone, all right, from fasting and, so on and so forth, as he was commanded to do. But he didn't know that he wasn't really, he was seeing a figure of a woman, but it wasn't like not talking about like a physical person like we, our people today. It wasn't like a regular person who was going to walk off and go, home somewhere, all right? No. He was seeing a particular vision here, and as I was speaking these words, behold, he came unto me and looked upon me, and lo, I lay as one that had been dead, and mine understanding was taken from me. And he took me by the right hand and comforted me, and set me upon my feet, and said unto me. So Ezra's damn near passed out. Okay, so the angel had to come and lift him up. Beautiful. Same thing happened to, was that Daniel? Okay, where it says he fell on his face like one dead or something like that. I believe that was in chapter 10. As a matter of fact, I want to check it real quick. I want to see if that was over there in chapter 10. We were over there earlier, actually. Yeah, Daniel 10:8. Therefore I was left alone and saw this great vision. See, and there remained no strength in me, for my comeliness was turned in me into corruption. Same thing, right? And I retained no strength. Yet I heard the voice of his words, and when I heard the voice of his words, then was I in a deep sleep on my face, and my face was toward the ground. And behold, an hand touched me, which set me upon my knees and upon the palms of my hands. Bam! You see, that the exact same thing as with brother Esdras. You see, and he said unto me, O Daniel, a man greatly beloved, understand the words that I speak unto thee, and stand upright. For unto thee am I now sent. And when he had spoken this word unto me, I stood trembling. Then said he unto me, fear not, Daniel, for the first day that thou didst set thine heart to understand and to chasten thyself before the power, thy words were heard, and I am come for thy words. Beautiful. There you go. So, and lo, I lay as one that had been dead, and mine understanding was taken from me. And he took me by the right hand and comforted me, and set me upon my feet, and said unto me, what aileth thee? And why art thou so disquieted? And why is thy understanding troubled, and the thoughts of thine heart, and the thoughts of thine heart? Let's get this word disquieted here. A state of being anxious, uneasy, restless, or mentally troubled. Ooh, that's perfect right there. Mentally troubled, because that's what he just said. I was like, when there was like dead. Okay, especially after that little woman incident. So in the heart, it's talking about your mind. So he's asking them. We just jumped here. I have to find my verse. Let me see here. Wait, are we in a different chapter? Sure are. Okay. Man, that threw me all the way off. Okay, we're past that. All right, yep, right there. Where are you? Yep, yeah, where's Uriel? Yep, got that. Yep. So verse 32. And I said, because thou hast forsaken me, and yet I did according to thy words. So he's saying, look, I went and fasted for those 7 days. I ate only the herbs of the field, and now this happened. And so now I'm nervous. Okay, I need you to come and give me some answers of what just happened. What am I experiencing here? Because thou hast forsaken me, and yet I did according to thy word. So I did what you asked, but you didn't show up. So I had to call out for you. And I went into the field, and lo, I have seen and yet see that I am not able to express. So I went into the field, I did what you asked. This happened with this woman, and now I'm seeing some stuff that I cannot explain. I need answers. And he said unto me, stand up manfully, and I will advise thee. Because you have to think about it, he's like the definition, he was anxious, Ezra was probably nervous a little bit, like, well, what is going on? He's, confused. Like, what is happening here? So he's like, same thing was said to Job, get it together. All right, get it together. Take a deep breath, calm down a second, and we're about to chop it up. All right, stand up manfully, and I will advise thee. Then said I, speak on, my Lord, in me, only forsake me not, lest I die frustrated on my, unless I die frustrated on my hope. Okay, and our hope back then and even to now in real time is what? To be delivered, man. All right, we sought out answers all of our lives, and now we finally obtain the truth. The only thing to really truly hope for is to be delivered from this place, man. But getting back on point, it says, for I have seen that I knew not. Beautiful, because we just said that. And I hear that I do not. I'm sorry, and I hear that I do not know. Or is my sense deceived, or my soul in a dream? So there you go. He was in a state of awe, confusion. Like, what is really happening? All right, just explain to me what I am experiencing right now. Now, therefore, I beseech thee that thou wilt shew thy servant of this vision. So I called out to you because I wanted to know what it is that I just saw here. He answered me then and said, hear me, and I shall inform thee, and tell thee wherefore thou art afraid. For the highest will reveal many secret things unto thee. Okay, and at this point, this is in chapter 10. Okay, so, and there, but between the first chapter and the final chapter, there were a whole lot of things revealed unto Esdras, especially concerning the time period that we're in now, which is Jacob's trouble. Esdras probably got the most out of Jacob's trouble. Okay, but John the Revelator got the most important thing out of Jacob's trouble, which was the MOTB. But continuing on, he answered me then and said, hear me, and I shall inform thee, and tell thee wherefore thou art afraid. For the highest will reveal many secret things unto thee. He hath seen that thy way is right, for that thou sorrowest continually for thy people, and makest great lamentation for Zion. Going back to what I was trying to find earlier about Daniel, all right? Same thing with Daniel. He was crying out for, for Israel and all Israel in their current state, and saying that, yeah, we've all sinned against you. We're all, But anyways, it says, this therefore is the meaning of the vision which thou lately sawest. So this is what you just experienced. This is the meaning of it. Thou sawest a woman mourning, and thou beginnest to comfort her. But now seest thou the likeness of the woman no more, but there appeared unto thee a city builded. And whereas she told thee of the death of her son, this is the solution. This woman whom thou sawest is Zion, and whereas she said unto thee, even she whom thou seest as a city builded. Whereas I say, she said unto thee that she had been 30 years barren. Those are the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. So this is the time period which going back to why we looked up the temple, right? From the time period of the temple actually being built, Solomon time, the years prior to that, all right? The Ark of the Covenant was in David's hands. Jerusalem is now established as, pretty much the headquarters, because he reigned 40 years. What was it? One reign was in Hebron, the other was in Jerusalem. Okay, but not the same amount of years. All right, it was like 7 for one place. I want to say it was 7 in Hebron and 33 in Jerusalem, or it might have been the opposite way. Just fact check me on that one. But it was definitely 40 years. But from the time of the Ark of the Covenant entered into Jerusalem, okay, and then David wanted to build a house for the Lord, but it was the patterns were given, but David couldn't build. All right, he was a bloody man, man of war. So Solomon built the temple. All right, so this time is the time period. That 30 years is the time period prior. That's why I said, let me read it again for you. It says, this woman whom thou sawest in Sion, and whereas she said unto thee, even she whom thou seest as a city builded, whereas I say, she said unto thee, that she had been 30 years barren. Those are the 30 years wherein there was no offering made in her. But after 30 years, Solomon built the city and offered offerings, and then bare the barrenness son. So there you go. Let's talk about that temple that was built. Okay, and that's why we, also we got dates on the first and second temple, which the second temple wasn't really important to this, but just want to bring it up on the screen too, which is 70 A.D. All right, which those were the Romans, which were Edomites, and then partaking in also the first temple being destroyed under the Babylonians. The Edomites were also there then. And who are trying to destroy the third temple now? It's the same Edomites, man. Okay? Because the third temple is a spiritual building, spiritual house. But getting back on point. So it says, but after 30 years, Solomon built the city and offered offerings, and then bare the barrenness son. So the 30 years prior to the building of the temple, the dedication and all these different things, which I think there was a whole chapter, about the finishing of the temple and the dedication of it, and so on and so forth. So there you go. And whereas she told thee that she nourished him with labor, that was the dwelling in Jerusalem. But whereas she said unto thee that my son coming into his marriage chamber happened to have a fail and died, this was the destruction that came to Jerusalem, which we talked about the history, and starting with the Babylonians. Okay, because the Medes nor the Persians destroyed Jerusalem. That happened under the Babylonians. They were the first, all right, to take us, because you had the Assyrians that took the northern kingdom, but they never got the southern kingdom. The Assyrians were around that time, but really it started with the which I guess the Babylonians were somewhat a part of the Assyrian Empire. They were Assyrian like people or whatever you call those people, but the Babylonians were a separate empire. Okay, start with Nebuchadnezzar the second's father, Nabopolassar. Okay, Nabopolassar. So he's the one that really founded Babylon as being an empire in itself. All right, no longer being under, the Syrians. You had all these other empires, so many empires. So little will that I'm giving this, to you direct. Okay, but yeah, so yeah, the destruction, came when the Babylonians came. All right, and they actually besieged us. It was the second time, and the temple was destroyed and things of that nature. All right, and it talks about how the books were burnt and things of that nature. So we lost those things, and which we talked about in the beginning of the books of Esdras. All right, somewhere in the earlier chapters. All right, where Esdras, was saying that the history was gone, and so the angel chopped it up and gave Esdras all the history back. Okay. Even scholars, I'm not saying this is true, but even scholars believe that Esdras, kind of, rewrote some of the things, like chronicles and stuff like that. But who knows if that's true or not? But that history that was lost, Esdras got a lot of that back. Okay, which I believe we read in one of those chapters, or maybe we haven't got to it yet. I don't think we got to it yet, but he talks about how wisdom grew in his breast. He drank the cup of fire and this and that. He all night he just couldn't stop, and so on and so forth. He knew he was going and going and going. So there was a lot of things revealed unto Esdras, man. So, and behold, thou sawest her likeness, and because she mourned for her son, thou beginnest to comfort her. And of these things which have chanced, these are to be opened unto thee. For now the Most High seeth that thou art grieved unfeignedly, and sufferest from thy whole heart for her. So hath he shewed thee the brightness of her glory, and the comeliness of her beauty. And therefore I bade thee remain in the field where no house was builded. So let me start and says, for now the Most High seeth that thou art grieved unfeignedly, and sufferest from thy whole heart for her. So hath he shewed thee the brightness of her glory, and the comeliness of her beauty. So it's likened to that woman, but remember what that woman represented, right? The city that was built. All right. Even talk about her face shining. Is that not how it said, you're going to be like in the time when Yahushua, established the kingdom? Jerusalem is going to have a glow. But continuing on, it says, and therefore I bade thee remain in the field where no house was builded, for I knew that the highest would shew this unto thee. So I told you to go here specifically because I knew the Lord was going to reveal this unto you. Therefore I commanded thee to go into the field where no foundation of any building was. For in the place wherein the highest beginneth to shew his city, there can no man's building be able to stand. Right? Which means what? When you look into modern day and you got all these people, in our lands, but mainly let's just, go to the focal point of Jerusalem and the surrounding areas. All of that's going to be cleared out. Okay. The mosque, all of that is going to be taken out the way. Okay. The Israelis will not be inhabiting, those areas forever. No one will be taking over Jerusalem forever except for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right, and his people. So a small indicator there of how all that area is going to be cleansed out for the return of Yahushua and the return of his people. I know we quoted it a lot. Isaiah 14:1. The Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land. So those areas have to be removed, or not removed, but removed of the people, the heathens that are there. So removed of the heathens and all the the filth and wickedness and idols and things, and cleansed out, so that elect remnant can come back home with Yahushua. See, so because remember the headquarters is Jerusalem. All right, Yahushua is the stone that smote the foot of the statue, became a great mountain. So that's the kingdom being established here on the earth, and the headquarters is Jerusalem. And it says that in Isaiah 2, Micah 4, the law shall flow forth from Jerusalem. So those lands have to be purified. Okay, and it's going to be happening by this war, by fire. And therefore fear not, let not thine heart be affrighted, but go thy way in, and see the beauty and greatness of the building, as much as thine eyes be able to see. Okay, and so he's telling Esdras to go in and say, hey, this is something to be comforted by. Okay, so go in, check it out, just walk around, see what you see and be comforted by it. And then shalt thou hear as much as thine eyes may comprehend. For thou art blessed above many other, and art called with the highest, and so are but few. Okay, so he says, you shall hear as much as thine eyes may hear. All right. Well, let me go back. It says, and see the beauty and greatness of the building, as much as thine eyes be able to see, and then shalt thou hear as much as thine eyes, that thine ears may comprehend. For thou art blessed above many other, and art called with the highest, and so are but few. Because the scriptures say many are called, but few are chosen. But even in this particular sense, it's saying that the Lord has not, really directly revealed such things to many individuals. All right. There's only a few you can, name on the hands, which are all prophets. All right. But tomorrow at night thou shalt remain here. And so shall the highest shew thee visions of the high things, which the Most High will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. So I slept that night, and another like as he commanded me. And that's what goes on in the next two chapters, because what you'll notice is it actually goes into the ancient history of the Roman Empire. The thing is, why that is relevant today, because America is part of what the Roman Empire revived. Okay, so the next two chapters cover, what it just said here in the last scripture. Let me read it again. And so shall the highest shew thee visions of the high things, which the Most High will do unto them that dwell upon the earth in the last days. These what? The time period of Jacob's trouble, these last days. Then it goes on to say, so I slept that night, and another like as he commanded me. Okay, so, and we're in the last days now. So that's why I mentioned those next two chapters, and linking it all the way to modern day today. Okay, because Esdras is about to get a whole lot more, history and understanding. Okay, that we ourselves today needed to understand, given the time period that we're in. Right. So, in the last two chapters of these chapters actually deal with war and Jacob's trouble, which pretty much go hand in hand, because we're in Jacob's trouble and, the war is sparking up. So that was the end of 2nd Esdras chapter 10. Lord willing, you edify to next thing. I'm going to say shalom.